sorry. That was acting. That's what that was.
The internet just went absolutely nuclear over what might be the biggest entertainment scandal of 2025, with reports claiming Pedro Pascal is having a complete emotional breakdown after HBO supposedly kicked Bella Ramsey out of The Last of Us Season 3. Social media platforms are on fire, fan pages are in chaos, and everyone from casual viewers to die-hard gamers are demanding answers about what the hell is actually happening behind the scenes at HBO. The rumors started small, but exploded into a full-blown crisis that has entertainment journalists scrambling, executives panicking, and millions of fans questioning everything they thought they knew about their favorite post-apocalyptic series. But here's the thing that's going to shock you. The real story behind all this madness is way more complicated, way more dramatic, and honestly, way more important than any of these wild rumors circulating online. We're talking about a perfect storm of misinformation, real behind-the-scenes drama, and fan hysteria that's created one of the most confusing entertainment controversies in recent memory. So buckle up, because what I'm about to reveal will completely change how you see this entire situation. And trust me, the truth is stranger than any fiction the internet could come up with. Let's dive into how this absolute insanity began and why millions of people got completely fooled by what turned out to be one of the most successful pieces of misinformation in entertainment history. It all started about 3 weeks ago when a supposed industry insider posted on Reddit claiming they had exclusive information about major changes coming to The Last of Us Season 3. The post was detailed, convincing, and hit all the right emotional buttons that would make fans immediately share it without thinking twice. Within hours, the rumor had spread to Twitter, then TikTok, then Facebook, creating this unstoppable avalanche of fake news that somehow convinced millions of people that Bella Ramsey had been secretly fired from the show. What made it even more believable was the timing.
I don't really care what happens with this movie. I really hope her career is pretty much over. I'd be thrilled to see that. I can't imagine. I mean, Christian, you tell me.
It came right after some legitimate criticism about Season 2's reception, so fans were already primed to believe that HBO might be making drastic changes. The fake leak claimed everything from creative differences to behind-the-scenes arguments, painting a picture of HBO executives coldly calculating that Bella needed to be replaced for the show's survival. Entertainment blogs started picking up the story, YouTubers began making reaction videos, and suddenly this completely fabricated narrative became common knowledge across the internet, proving just how quickly lies can become accepted truth in our social media age. So what did Pedro Pascal actually say about all this chaos? And how far off were all those dramatic headlines claiming he was having emotional breakdowns and threatening to quit the show? The truth is, Pedro's real response has been incredibly measured and professional, which makes the exaggerated reports even more ridiculous when you actually look at the facts. In his most recent interviews, Pedro has consistently praised Bella's talent, called their working relationship one of the highlights of his career, and never once suggested any problems between them or with HBO's handling of the show. The supposed meltdown videos that went viral on social media, most of them were either clips taken completely out of context from entirely different interviews, or they were showing Pedro's normal emotional responses to completely unrelated topics that got twisted into fake drama. Some of the clips being shared as proof of his breakdown were actually from interviews about his personal life, his family, or even his work on other projects that had absolutely nothing to do with The Last of Us. Pedro hasn't made any dramatic public statements about Bella being fired because, and this is the important part, she was never actually fired in the first place. But that didn't stop the rumor mill from spinning his normal human emotional responses into something they definitely weren't, creating this false narrative that he's somehow at war with HBO when the reality is completely different. While everyone was completely losing their minds over fake Bella drama and non-existent Pedro meltdowns, the real entertainment bombshell was happening right under everyone's noses, and most people completely missed it because they were too distracted by the manufactured controversy.
I'm sorry. That was acting. That's what that was.
In July 2025, Neil Druckmann, the co-creator, executive producer, and showrunner of The Last of Us HBO series, actually did depart the show in what industry insiders are calling one of the most significant creative shakeups in recent television history. This wasn't some quiet, mutual decision either. Druckmann's departure came after mounting pressure following Season 2's incredibly divisive reception among both critics and fans. Though officially he cited his need to focus on his commitments with Naughty Dog and upcoming video game projects. We're talking about the actual creative mastermind behind the entire franchise, the guy who created Joel and Ellie, walking away from the television adaptation of his own work. Sources close to the production suggest that Druckmann had been increasingly frustrated with network interference, budget constraints, and the constant pressure to balance the expectations of video game fans with the needs of a broader television audience. His departure represents a massive shift in the show's creative direction and raises serious questions about HBO's ability to maintain the quality and authenticity that made the first season such a critical and commercial success. That's the real story everyone should be talking about, not imaginary casting drama. If you found yourself falling for these rumors like millions of other people did, hit that like button because we all need to get better at spotting fake news in the entertainment world. And if you want more videos that actually separate fact from fiction, instead of just feeding you whatever gets clicks, subscribe because that's exactly what we do here. Understanding why Season 2 created such a perfect storm for these fake rumors to explode requires looking at the incredibly divisive reception the season received and how it set up the perfect conditions for misinformation to spread like wildfire. Season 2 faced unprecedented backlash from significant portions of the fanbase who felt the show had deviated too much from what they loved about the original source material, with critics arguing that certain character developments felt rushed, plot points seemed forced, and the overall tone had shifted in ways that alienated longtime supporters. The viewership numbers, while still respectable, showed noticeable drops compared to Season 1's record-breaking performance, and social media was flooded with heated debates between defenders and critics of the show's new direction.
Like most people, I liked the first season. I thought they did a great job. Season 2, I was skeptical on them not recasting Ellie and keeping Bella Ramsey as Ellie because it's supposed to take place 5 years into the future, but obviously Bella Ramsey in real life was not going to age that much.
Online discussion forums became battlegrounds where fans argued passionately about everything from character arcs to casting choices, creating this toxic environment where any criticism, no matter how constructive, got amplified into major controversy. When you have a fan base that's already on edge about the show's creative direction, already questioning every decision HBO makes, and already looking for explanations for why their beloved series doesn't feel the same anymore, wild rumors about cast changes and behind-the-scenes drama start to seem not just believable, but inevitable. The divisive reception created this perfect breeding ground where any speculation, no matter how baseless or obviously fabricated, could gain serious traction because it confirmed what some fans already wanted to believe about HBO's handling of the franchise. HBO found themselves fighting an unprecedented battle on multiple fronts, dealing with both completely fabricated misinformation spreading across social media and very real creative challenges that were actually affecting the show's production and future. The network's crisis management team was working overtime to combat the false Bella Ramsey rumors, while simultaneously trying to reassure talent, investors, and industry partners that the wild stories circulating online were completely without merit. Behind the scenes, HBO executives were having emergency meetings about how to handle the misinformation crisis without accidentally legitimizing the false claims by giving them too much attention, walking this incredibly delicate line between damage control and drawing more attention to the fake controversy. At the same time, they were dealing with the very real challenge of moving forward without Neil Druckmann's direct creative involvement, restructuring the entire production team, and trying to maintain continuity with the vision that made the show successful in the first place. The network had to quietly reassure their main cast members that their jobs were secure while also conducting internal reviews of how such widespread misinformation could spread so quickly and effectively.
For some reason, they made the decision for The Last of Us Season 2 to make Ellie dumb, to the point where she even says that she's stupid. Why? That just kind of betrays the character.
It was like fighting a war on two completely different fronts, battling lies and fake news on social media, while also addressing legitimate creative transitions and production challenges that required immediate attention and long-term strategic planning. The situation became so complex that HBO eventually had to assign dedicated staff members just to monitor and respond to the flood of misinformation spreading across various platforms. Here's the truth that's been completely buried under layers of speculation, fake leaks, and social media hysteria. Bella Ramsey is absolutely, definitively returning for The Last of Us Season 3, and there was never any legitimate discussion about removing her from the show or recasting her character. HBO officially confirmed the show's renewal for a third season back in April 2025, and industry sources with direct knowledge of the production have consistently reported that all main cast members, including both Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey, are not only expected but contractually committed to continue their roles in the upcoming season. The character of Ellie remains absolutely central to the planned storyline for Season 3, with writers already developing story arcs that specifically depend on Bella's continued portrayal of the character and the established relationship dynamic between Pedro and Bella's characters. Multiple entertainment industry publications with proven track records for accurate reporting have confirmed through their own sources that the entire kicked-out narrative was pure fiction that somehow managed to convince half the internet it was real news. The casting department hasn't even begun looking at potential replacements because there's no need for replacements. Bella's position on the show was never in question among people actually making decisions at HBO. Even the show's remaining executive producers and the new showrunner who replaced Neil Druckmann have specifically mentioned Bella's continued involvement in their future plans, making it clear that she's considered an irreplaceable part of the show's success and identity. The fan response to this entire manufactured controversy has been absolutely fascinating and terrifying to watch unfold in real time, creating this bizarre situation where thousands of people are having passionate arguments about events that literally never happened, while completely ignoring the real issues affecting their favorite show.
Have you changed up your impression at all, or is it pretty much the same?
Well, the noise is the same. I've not got any more noises in my back pocket. The new infected are pretty terrifying. They're so smart, and they haven't really got a noise. That's the whole point of them. They're silent and terrifying.
Ooh, give us a little silent and terrifying.
You've got Team Bella supporters organizing social media campaigns to defend her against criticisms and attacks that weren't even real, creating hashtags and petition drives to save someone who was never in danger of being removed from the show. On the flip side, you've got longtime critics of the series using these fake rumors as ammunition to justify their existing complaints about the show's direction, pointing to the non-existent casting changes as proof that HBO doesn't understand what made the original material special. Meanwhile, confused casual viewers are desperately trying to figure out what's actually happening, scrolling through comment sections filled with contradictory information and heated debates between people who seem to know completely different versions of the same story. The situation has created these weird echo chambers where different groups of fans are operating with completely different sets of facts, leading to arguments that are literally impossible to resolve because they're based on fundamentally different understandings of reality. Social media platforms have become battlegrounds where people are arguing with incredible passion and emotion about casting decisions that were never made, executive mandates that were never issued, and behind-the-scenes drama that exists only in the collective imagination of the internet. At the end of the day, this entire saga represents a perfect case study in how quickly and effectively misinformation can spiral completely out of control in our hyper-connected social media landscape, where fake news can travel faster than facts and emotional reactions often matter more than actual evidence. While millions of fans were losing sleep over manufactured casting drama and imaginary behind-the-scenes conflicts, the genuinely significant story, Neil Druckmann's departure from the show, and what that means for the creative direction of future seasons, got completely overshadowed by lies and speculation. Pedro Pascal never had any kind of emotional breakdown about Bella being fired because Bella was never fired, never threatened with being fired, and never even discussed as a potential candidate for being fired by anyone with actual decision-making authority at HBO. The Last of Us Season 3 is moving forward with its main cast completely intact, just without its original co-creator and showrunner, which is actually a much more significant change for the show's future than any fake casting controversy could ever be. The real challenge facing the series isn't imaginary drama between beloved co-stars, but rather the very practical question of whether the new creative team can maintain the quality and authenticity that made the first season such a phenomenon without Neil Druckmann's direct involvement, and whether they can win back some of the fans who were disappointed with Season 2's direction while still attracting new viewers to keep the show commercially viable for HBO's long-term investment in the franchise.